guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my 1971 Sierra Brown Varsity. I got it about 4 years ago. I cleaned it, got new tires, cables, tape, and then I just put it away. Alright, so this bike's gonna have to wait another weekend. I never got my tape, but while I'm waiting for that, I got into this stack of bikes there and pulled out my second bike I ever bought. When I first started buying bikes, I wasn't really restoring them. I was just taking them to the bike shop and having work on them to make them functional. This is my first one here, the 1970 Campus Green. So after I bought that one, I bought this other one right here. This is a 1971, but it is original. It's a 24-inch frame. And I had them put this bar tape on it, and it's not the original translucent brown. I shouldn't have done it. Should have kept the one, but it had a lot of tears in it, so I changed it. So that's, you know, and then I always noticed this handlebar had a really weird lever that was way off. And looking at it, it looks like that handlebar is just crooked. Like it probably took a fall or got run over by a car. And that's what makes those levers be way off. Because I tried straightening this out at one point and I just couldn't get it. I go, what the hell's going on? So I actually ran into the color online and check it out. This is what I was talking about. This is the Sierra Brown tape that goes with this bike. And it's kind of a translucent, kind of champagne color. But when you wrap it, it really looks really nice. And this is what I had on it when I bought it. Pulled off the levers. And I'm gonna take off the handlebar so I can put it on the vice grip and straighten it. I think I can get it straight if I can actually get a better look at it once it's off the bike. And I'll polish it and clean it up. And then I'll also clean the levers and get them all nice and shiny and get the new bar tape on it. I think I'm just gonna keep the cables as they are. I'm gonna clean them a little bit because I really like keeping the original cables now. So what it was, this side here was pitched in and now it's got that curvature going out. Same as that one right there. So roughly, without tightening them up, you can see how they're gonna be straight now. So I could never do that when it was crooked. I kept playing with it. I'm gonna go ahead and take it back off and polish the handlebar, polish these things. Then we'll put the tape on it and I'll see if I can clean these cables and make it look a little bit better. This bike has been basically parked for 4 years after I bought it and got new cables on it and bar tape and tires. I just kept getting more bikes. It just got buried and parked. So I wanted to pull it out and ride it around and give it some life. So the handlebar tape job turned into a headset as well, because when I was actually turning it, I could hear it squeaking. You know, so I go, what the? So I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart as well. I don't think this has been serviced before. And I'm sure it just dries a bone in there, and it'll only take a second to take this off. This handlebar was one of my first. I really had a tough job pulling out. You can see it had got some corrosion there, and it, you know, I was able to tap it down and pull it out. That probably looks like in there. So I'll take care of that. Not any grease at all on that. So I'm gonna clean that up, make sure that race is not damaged, and then, you know, get rid of all that rust everywhere. Bottom one, I'm sure, looks just as bad. Yep. The bearings, you know, there's no grease on them at all. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. It's already 1 in the morning. I didn't realize it got so late. I just came out here and started playing with stuff. It was like around 10 o'clock when I came out here just to, you know, check out the bike and see if I could, you know, put the bar tape on it. And one thing led to another, and here we are. Right, here we go. Saturday morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that rust. That's pretty typical. So I'm gonna put that in a little jar of evaporust. Let it sit there for a few hours. Got it set up right there. I'll just put it in there, and that'll get inside the steer tube as well. So I'm gonna take this off as well and dip that in there. Get rid of that little bit of rust there. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this off as well, because I'm sure that crank's needing some, you know, service as well. Also gonna get that rust off of those bolts and the clamps. Get all that stuff off of there. So this will look a lot better once they're done. Normally would rebuild these and put new parts on them, but I'm just gonna clean these up and leave them original. These should definitely clean up really nice. So I get everything soaking. I put that in there as well. So that'll definitely clean off. And I got rust agent products around there because that was pretty rusty, and so I should clean up. So we'll let that soak for a few hours and then we'll come back to it. In the meantime, I am going to go ahead and switch out the bearings there. Alright, we're going ahead and put the bike on the main bike stand, pull it much better, and get the other bike out of the way, give me more room. It's a little cramped in here. So I am going to go ahead and do the overhauls. I went actually to the bike store just now and picked up bearings. Alright, well, we went ahead and took the crankset out. And man, I'm glad I did. Look at how dry that's in there. There's actually dust from no grease being in there. So I'll definitely clean that out. Make sure that those races look good. Here's the crank itself. It's also very dry. So we'll clean that up. Pretty clean chrome though. I'm gonna wipe that down. It should look good. All right, so much better. Got the bearing cups polished, clean and shined and inspected. There's no scarring or any damage, so we're good to go. Clean out that bottom bracket barrel as well. So both sides good to go. And here's the crank. Look how beautiful that chrome cleans up. Again, this is no rust at all. 1971 crank set, perfect condition. So everything cleaned up beautifully. So that'll go on there. Got the handlebar all clean, ready to go. All the rust is off of it. All right, got the crankset back on. He's got to put on the lock ring and the lock nut. See that little slot right there? That goes right in there. So I got it right where I want it. This is your cone right here, and you want to just make it tight enough so there's no play, so you can't feel it, you know, back and forth. And I've learned to give it a little bit of play because when I tighten the lock nut, it'll take care of that. Otherwise, if you put it right at the bearings, it'll be too tight because this thing's spinning beautifully right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock it up and see if I can keep it spinning that same way. Tighten counterclockwise. So when you loosen them, make sure that you go clockwise. Otherwise, you'll be tightening them and you won't be able to get them off. Tight. There's no play, and it spins perfectly. This is the headset. And there's that steer tube. Looks much better. All that rust is gone. And I'll go ahead and put that headset on it. Alright, so the headset's on. This thing is much better now. It was making so much noise when I was just turning it when I was taking stuff off. And now it's super smooth and really quiet. And again, no play and a lot of movement. So that'll work. I'll go ahead and put the dual stick shifters on it now and the rest of the hardware. Everything's hooked up so far. So let's go ahead and get the bars on. The stem cleaned up. I dipped that along with the steer tube in that evaporust and definitely took out all the rust that was on there. So handlebar's pretty much ready. You just got to put the levers on it and the tape, and then we'll put it on the bike. All right, so we got the bars on and the levers, and looks like the second position levers are hanging perfectly straight. So that's awesome. And I got these bad boys nice and polished out. So chrome looks so good on these bikes. So I'll go ahead and get the hardware. I had all the bolts in the evaporust, so they're still in there right now. I'm gonna head and get that stuff out now and basically put all the hardware together and then get the tape on it. Can't wait to put that tape. It's the real deal. It's what used to be on this bike, and it's Sierra Brown. Is classic color. Very popular with a lot of models. And there it is. That's that translucent original tape that came on these bikes in 1971. And again, this is what it had when I bought it, but it was all chewed up. So I switched it out for some crappy brown one, and I regretted it after I did it. And these guys, of course, just threw it out, but I found a roll of it, and man, that looks amazing. It came out pretty sweet. Now, these are a 5-yard roll, so what I usually do before I put it on, I cut it in half. See, so here's other 2.5 yards. And remember, you start at 2 inches from the stem, and that gives you the perfect amount of wrap, and then it just tucks right in. So that was perfect. And then I was able to cut about 1.5 inches to put there, which is something I hadn't done before, but I felt like I had enough. So this stuff goes on beautifully. It stretches nice and it lays perfectly. So this is a really good roll. But I like the way that looks. It came out nice. Both sides are on. That came out really sweet. Yeah, this tape is really good. I've done a lot of tapes and this has been one of the better ones. Really fresh or something. It was just really stretchy, consistent, and it just kind of wrapped itself. It was really nice. So we'll go ahead and do the cables next, and then we'll go ahead and do the dual position levers. Right, it's all done on the handlebars. And this is the setup for Varsities. They both go on the front. If you notice, I talked about how the cables go one in the front, one in the back. The Varsity is the only bike that they did both in the front. And reason being is because this cable drops right into the side pull brake, as you can see. So there's no need for it to go behind the bar like the Continentals. You know, so basically if you have a center pull brake, the cable goes in the back for the front, and then all the cables to the back always go underneath the handlebar like this. So this is basically original cables right out of the factory. I was able to clean them. They came out pretty good. Brakes, lubing these cables definitely makes a big difference in the way these things glide. So this thing's perfect. So nice. Well, so I'm gonna put it away for the rest of the night. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rims. You know, I hadn't really checked them yet. So I'm gonna put them on I'm gonna trim them and go ahead and overhaul the hubs, because I think this thing's gonna really glide nicely once that's done. It seems to be spinning freely. I'll still check it out, but it looks like it might have been serviced at one point because it really spins for quite a while. I'll still, you know, balance it, make sure that it's true. Here's the rear one. You can hear the bearings pressing against the cones. So I'll go ahead and take this one apart and check out the bearings on it. I'm pretty sure they need to be serviced. So I went ahead and removed the freewheel, and I was spinning that, and it appears that maybe the cones were just a little too tight, but I'm still going to take it off and make sure the grease is good. But they feel pretty good. I think the cones might have been a little on the snug side. I totally degreased it, cleaned it up. Check out that bad boy. It looks like if it was new. You can see a little wear on the gears, but that's to be expected. Best part is these things usually are really hard to clean when they're on the bike, so this gives you a chance to really clean it up. In this case, this one's got derailleur burn on it. See that right there on the perimeter, and nothing you can do about that. So I found like 10 of these brand new, so I'm just gonna put one of these on it, so that'll definitely really, you know, make the bike look a little better. All right, so I took it out. There's the axle. You got your cone, key washer, lock nut, and then your dust cover. And as you can see right here, it appears to have the original sticky grease that Schwinn used. It's a really thick, very sticky type of grease. And I'm not sure if that can be, actually I tried to get some of that, and the bike shop didn't have any. So I'm just gonna use the grease that I have from Part Tool. Went ahead and cleaned the races to look to be in good shape as well. And this is a good opportunity to clean both sides of your hubs. Clean, ready to go. Those are your covers there. But again, there's your cone, key washer, lock nut, and that cone's in really good shape. The cone over here as well, it looks good. And then I went ahead and I happened to have the bearings that were the 1/4 size. So I had a batch of those, so I'll get new bearings on it, put the grease on it, put it together, and it should be spinning nicely. Definitely got plenty of grease in there. And then I'll go ahead and put the cover on it, and then flip the wheel over and do the other side, and then put the
axle through it.
Same thing as everything else, you know, you want to tighten that cone just enough. Give it a little bit of play so when you tighten the lock nut, it actually takes care of that little bit of play, but at the same time it does not bind the cone against the bearings. So this thing now is humming. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of the hardware on it and get it on the bike. That rim is spinning pretty true, pretty close to that caliper there. So, all right, so now this is a brand new spoke protector, but I did still polish it, get any fingerprints off of it, because you guys know how hard it is to clean once you put it on, because it's basically behind all the spokes. So once it's there, you know, I'm sure you've found yourself cleaning between the spokes. I know I have many times, but now it's perfectly clean, and we'll put the freewheel on it and get it on the bike. But yeah, if anything, that tool that I showed you guys could get that just to basically do maintenance and cleaning. Again, the tool is the FR4 from Park Tool. They're only $7. Once the tool is on there, again, this goes clockwise, and you don't have to make it too tight. You just get it so it's tight enough, because riding the bike will actually tighten it as well. So it's good to go. And so super clean freewheel, brand new grease on the bearings. Put air in tires, and she's ready to ride. And notice I didn't put my red brakes on it because it's going to be a rider, and I only have so many of those to go around. So I have tons of these black ones that I have replaced, so I need to start using some of them. Can't just let them go to waste. Yep, they're working. So I just want to make sure that they were both on there. But anyway, she's ready to ride. I'm going to go ahead and put her down. This is a very nice color. It's very understated. It's a classic Sierra Brown. So no touch-ups. Just wax the paint. It does have quite a few dings and nicks, but that's again part of the bike history on it. So all original parts, including the rat trap pedals, great shape. One-piece crank, great chrome. S6 rims, shining like new. So very nice. Yeah, so not too bad. Original Schwinn badge. So I did put this saddle on it because I want to ride it, and I do have the original Schwinn saddle on it. So, but anyway, I'm gonna take her for a spin. Glad I got this bike back out. I think it's been neglected for 4 years, just sitting there waiting for something to happen, and something finally did. Alright, so let's go ahead and cruise. Yeah, so this is what I remember being a kid, seeing these handlebars and shifters. Yeah, this thing rides like a Cadillac. You know, everybody complains about how heavy these bikes are, but they're smooth as ride. I've been riding on a lot of bikes lately, and this by far has been one of the smoothest rides I've had. Even my lighter weight bikes, you can feel every bump. This thing's just like you're riding a big Eldorado. But yeah, this is a grand old bike. Cool color, cool chrome everywhere. Pretty awesome. Look at them original tables there. So this bike was doing this back in 1971. Where were you guys at? Some of you guys probably aren't even born. I was like 11. What about this bike? I got it at a pawn shop. I got it for like $100 or so, and it was basically in the condition it's in, except it just needed a lot of work. So now it's a great rider. So the Schwinn Varsity again was the entry-level road bike in the lightweight category. Weighed anywhere from 38 to 40 pounds, depending on the frame and if you got fenders on it. But these things are smooth riding bikes. Tell you what, I was riding it around today and this thing was just like a Cadillac. Loved it. So as you can see, the frame's really nice. The geometry on it looks like an expensive road bike. This is what they call a flash weld frame, steel frame. These were probably the most popular Schwinns out there. They were affordable, durable, and all the dealers carried them, and all the colors that Schwinn made. This is probably one of the more muted colors, along with the campus green. So those were understated traditional colors, because they also came in the cool lemon, cool orange, opaque blue, and several other colors throughout the years. Yeah, very happy to get this bike up and running. Going to get a little bit of activity on it. It was just sitting there for the last 4 years, so I was glad to be able to make it a rider. And it's a nice bike too. I really like riding it. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. There's a lot of bikes I got going, like these right here, that just been sitting around, and now I get a chance to play with all of them. All right, stay tuned for the next one.